Thank you for joining us, America. Lynn is in Washington, D.C. Hi, Lynn. How are you?
Hi, Dave. Thank you so much for taking my call. I'm really excited that I'm able to talk with you today.
Well, you too. What's up?
I'm calling for some guidance. I've been listening to your radio program for a year. My husband and I are currently taking SPU, and when I was 18 years old, I opened some credit cards under my name, but I gave them to my parents. I thought I was helping them because they needed some money at the time, and they were helping me because they were building my credit. Now I'm 31 years old, and they still have those credit cards open. There are 8 credit cards still open, and I looked on my credit report today. They owe $13,000, almost $14,000 on those cards. And it's starting to cause some strife in my marriage. My husband's really upset about this. We've been working very hard towards the baby steps, and my parents have all this debt in my name. So can you help me?
So I'm a little bit, none of this is a good idea. None of it makes any sense. But if it had gone on for 1 year or something, it would make more sense than having gone on this long. What is wrong with your parents?
They've had financial problems their whole lives, and you speak all the time on changing your family tree, and so my husband are trying to do that, but it's hard when the roots, my parents are the roots, and they're causing all these problems at the very bottom of our family tree. So,
do all the cards still have debt on them?
No. The 8 that are open, there are 3 that have a 0 balance.
Close them
and 5
immediately.
that still have quite a lot of balances. Okay.
And tell Mom and Dad you're doing it. Do your parents live near you?
They do not.
Okay. When will you see them again?
In a few months. They do visit often. We have a really good relationship, but this is like the white elephant in the room. It's very awkward.
Your husband has to say nothing in the conversation, but he needs to sit there. But he can't jump in because he's way too pissed to talk about this.
Okay.
And it will come out in his voice and his body language. But he sits there with you, and the 4 of you have a meeting, and you start working, and you say, Mom and Dad, I am getting out of debt myself, and I'm closing all of these accounts immediately. And we need to develop a plan whereby these loans get paid off immediately.
Okay.
It's gone on.
I made the monumental mistake of one of the cards had a $5,000 balance and limit, so it was maxed out, and it had like a 29% interest rate. So 2 years ago, I told my parents, I'm going to pay this in cash so that you can get out from under that interest rate, and it helps me because my credit score was just tanked, And if you could make those payments to me, and then we all win, and they have
not made the payments.
Maxed the card out again. They've maxed the card out again.
You didn't close it.
I didn't close it. Yes, young and dumb.
Okay. All right. Well, you have your parents and you have serious boundary issues between you. I'm assuming you're done with that and you're ready to set some boundaries. If you're not, your husband has tremendous reason to be pissed.
I understand. Yes, I'm ready for this. I mean, my husband and I are now on baby step 4, except we're really not, because in my name I have these credit cards open. So
exactly. So what I would tell you to do is,
we're not debt free.
Yeah, I would tell you to begin to have some phone conversations with them and say, Mom and Dad, when you all are here next time, we're going to sit down and develop a plan to pay these off. In the meantime, I'm closing these 3, and I would send letters to each of the other cards, certified mail, return receipt requested, and get on the phone saying these cards are to be closed to further charges. Only the existing charges, the only reason the account is left open is to pay down the existing balance. You can't close an account with a balance, but you need to close it to further charges.
Sure.
And that's going to be a fight because these credit card companies are not going to want to do that, but they can do it and they will do it, and you lean on them until they do it, so that your parents can't run up any more debt on these things. At least bring the credit lines down to the balance. Okay. Where they can't go over again. Right. And close them to further charges and close the ones that have 0 balances immediately.
Okay, I absolutely will.
And then get on the phone with your parents and tell them what you're doing and say, next time you're here, Mom and Dad, I need to sit down with you and we need to develop a plan to pay this off. And, hey, we've been through financial peace. It's helped us. We can put you guys through it. Y'all need to talk about this. It's time for you to turn your lives around. But but either way, if you choose not to turn your lives around, I've got to get this cleaned up for the sake of my family. Yes. And you can be gentle with them and kind to them. You don't need to call them names and say, Mom, you've always been a spender. You've always got this problem. You don't need to bring up any of that. You just need to say, here's where we are today, and here's where we're going tomorrow.
Okay.
Today we're $13,000 in debt with 3 closed cards and 5 open cards. Tomorrow, and we're going to start working a debt snowball. What's the smallest balance?
Let me look here. It is $537.
Pay that one off today and close it too.
Me. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And be done with it. Because what I'm doing here is it's worth $500 to limit your exposure.
Right.
You're down to just 4 cards then, and you got to talk them into shutting down further spending on them. Not the parents, the cards. You follow me on that?
Yes, absolutely.
But your husband, he needs to be behind you, cheering you on and propping you up and reminding you that you're not crazy and you're not a bad daughter and all the things that your parents may say and all that kind of stuff. But if he has to enter this, he will never be forgiven by them.
I understand.
Once he starts, then they're going to blame him for being the cause because they're the cause, but they don't think they're the cause. They think that life is unfair and all this other BS.
Right.
So have you ever read the book Boundaries by Dr. Henry Cloud?
No, sir.
I'm going to send you a copy, and I want you to read it as soon as you get it all the way through. And get your
Thank you
highlighter
very
and your sticky pads ready. You're going to love it.
Thank you.
And it'll help you with this conversation because these conversations are very, very hard for you because you feel like you're doing something wrong because you're not taking care of family. Am I right?
Exactly, yes.
And I want you to reframe that in your mind. It's not that your mother's ill and you won't buy her medicine. It's that she does cocaine and you've been buying her cocaine. And now you're going to stop buying her cocaine.
Right.
If she were ill, you would buy her medicine. I wouldn't stop you from doing that. This is not illness. This is misbehavior, and you've been financing it.
Yes, sir.
And that's not to pick on you, but to help you reframe it, because when they start all their routine, and they're going to start it, aren't they?
Yes.
When you say the emperor has no clothes, they're going to argue and say, oh, no, he's fully clothed. Aren't they?
It's going to be quite a conversation.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, my hands are sweating just thinking about.
That's what I mean. That's what I want to give you courage for. Not to pick on you, but it's the right thing to do for them, for your relationship with them, and for your family in particular. Your husband and you have been talking about that part.
Right.
And so that's where we want you to go. Hold on the line, and Kelly will pick up, and we'll get you a copy of Boundaries by Dr. Henry Cloud.